Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Deb, and welcome to another episode of PTSD and Beyond. Welcome to the PTSD and Beyond podcast, where we give you insights into post-traumatic stress, trauma recovery, healing, and beyond. I'm Dr. Deb Lind, and in each episode, I have a conversation with a guest who will stimulate your mind, touch your heart, and connect with your spirit, and also give you a greater understanding of yourself and others on this healing and recovery journey walked by so many of us before, wounded healers with lived experience and heroes. Hopefully, we'll also provide a glimpse into possibilities and purpose, hope, and inspiration. Thanks for listening and enjoy the podcast. One last thing, guys, before we dive into today's episode, if you'd like an ad-free experience and like early access to new episodes and special events, I want to let you know you can join us at patreon.com. That is patreon.com/PTSD and Beyond. All right, let's do it. Today's episode of PTSD and Beyond is proudly sponsored by the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs Biorepository Brain Bank, dedicated to advancing research on brain disorders that impact veterans. The VABBB is seeking participants both with and without neurological conditions. Your involvement can lead to important breakthroughs and support life-changing research. Visit www.research.va.gov/programs and click on the VA Biorepository Brain Bank, or check out the show notes to learn how you can get involved in making a difference. Hey everybody, welcome back to another PTSD and Beyond podcast episode, where we explore healing, resilience, and yes, the journey of rediscovery. I'm your host, Dr. Deb, and today we're going to be diving into a topic that feels incredibly timely for so many of us: finding comfort in chaos. Why? Because life can be messy, it can be overwhelming, and at times be downright chaotic. Comfort, however, isn't just about escaping the noise. Okay, it's not about avoidance. It's about finding a sense of calm, connection, and safety within ourselves, even when the world around us feels anything but calm. In today's episode, we're going to be exploring 5 key things. The first is recognizing discomfort, what it is, where it comes from, and how it manifests in our lives. The second thing is strategies to separate ourselves from chaos. And the third thing is insights from researcher Dr. Barbara Fredrickson on how comfort and positive emotions transform trauma recovery. And fourth, how our understanding of comfort has evolved over time. And lastly, of course, some practical ways to bring comfort into our daily lives. So let's dive in. Before we can talk about comfort, we need to start with the understanding of discomfort, what it is, how it shows up in our lives, what are some things that it does to us, whether we're thinking about like our emotions, our thoughts, our feelings, even our energy levels, right? And where this topic came up was I was someplace and I was surprised of the chaos that was around me. I was somewhere where I wanted to find some comfort, and all around me was just a bunch of chaos. And I thought to myself, this is actually pretty good, Deb, because you're able to recognize the discomfort. But how often do we actually recognize discomfort as a signal and is a way of our mind and our body saying something isn't right here. This right here isn't what I want. And even a deeper level of awareness is sometimes, discomfort can feel like tension. Sometimes it can be witnessing something that brings unease, or even looking around us and feeling like we're standing still and everybody around us is just experiencing chaos, and we witness it, we recognize it. And yes, it can feel like all of these things. It can feel like tension, unease, and it shows up in many different ways. It shows up in big ways, and it shows up in small ways, like from a restless night's sleep to even an overwhelming sense of dread when you're around certain people or certain situations. So take a moment to reflect on these questions. What situations make you feel off balance or even uneasy? Are there people in your life who drain your energy? You ever around someone and you're like, oh my gosh, it's that sense of A, I don't want to be around them again. And B, like, I just feel so depleted, like you're drained. And then what behaviors, whether our own behaviors or others' behaviors, make us feel chaotic? See, discomfort often comes from three main sources. One is people. So, relationships that lack trust, for example, or mutual respect. The second thing is behaviors. So, things that we do, things that people do, like overcommitting or avoiding things, procrastinating, passive aggressive behaviors, the inability to state our needs. The last thing is situations. So, environments that feel unpredictable or unsafe. By identifying these sources, we can begin to untangle the chaos and take the first steps toward creating space for comfort. Now, once we've identified what causes discomfort, the next step is creating distance between ourselves and the chaos. See, this isn't about running away or ignoring problems. It isn't about ignoring people. It isn't about ignoring or running away from situations. It is about learning to respond with intention rather than reacting from a place of stress. And here's three simple ways to start. What's really interesting, and I do really appreciate this about our podcast, is when I look at information, especially research or others that are out there with their shingle saying, hey, I'm this expert, there's a lot of information that tells us what not to do and even what to do, but it never goes deeper to say, well, how the freaking hell do I do it? It's like telling somebody, hey, you should do something different with your hair. Okay, well, that's nice. You going to show me how to do it now? And I'm laughing because I'll tell you where I was at. I was at the gym. I was at the gym. And I was like, look at all this chaos. And why I bring this up is because in that moment, I had an opportunity to do exactly what these three things are about. We're going to talk about okay, how do I do this? Here's three simple ways to start. One is pause and reflect. So when you feel overwhelmed, take a moment to breathe and ask yourself, what's happening here? I often ask this question to myself. This is one of my go-to questions. What is happening here? The other way that I rephrase it is I say to myself, what is going on? What is going on? And that question, I'm smiling while I'm saying this because that question that I asked myself automatically puts me in a pause. What's happening here? Now, the second question, I do ask myself this one too. What do I need right now? So, what's going on? What's happening here? Pretty much the same. And then the second one is, what do I need right now? And if I'm in a moment and I really can't say what I need, because sometimes I can't, I'll ask myself the question until I actually know. And sometimes I respond and say, I don't know what I need right now. I don't know what I need right now. And I ask the question again. Okay, pause. What's happening here? What's going on? And sometimes what actually is going on is it reminds me of something else. And then I ask myself, all right, well, what is it that I need? What do I need right now? And even a few seconds of reflection can create clarity. And it's so true. When I use these questions, I eventually find clarity. The second thing is setting boundaries. I mentioned in a previous PTSD and Beyond podcast episode that boundary setting isn't about saying no to somebody. Boundaries are actually about saying yes to yourself. And boundaries are essential for protecting our well-being and our safety to some extent. Because, isn't well-being safety? And this could mean, again, saying no to something that feels too much or limiting or it just doesn't feel right, especially with people who don't respect us, who don't respect our energy, who don't respect our space, and who are just rude and maybe even intentionally hurtful. So boundaries are essential for protecting ourselves and to say yes to us. Now, the third thing is about creating comfort zones. So how do we find or create spaces that feel safe and nurturing? Now, I'm going to share something with everybody. I have a sweater of my dad's, and this sweater's it's old. Gosh, I don't know, could be 1950s for all I know, but it's a pretty old sweater. And it reminds me of Linus's blanket because this poor sweater. I remember when I asked my dad for it, he was like, "You're never going to wear this." And I said, "Yeah, actually I am." And whenever I want comfort, I, slip on this massive sweater. And it's really showing its age. It's got a few holes that I need to repair. I've been watching on how to do this, and it is something though that provides comfort, that provides safety, and that's nurturing. So when you're thinking about ways to create spaces or find comfort and nurturing, ways that are nurturing, you can do many different things, whether it's creating a corner in, your home, a spot in nature, um, a daily ritual like journaling or meditation. It could be cooking. It could be making your favorite comfort foods and how the aromas, just bring you back to another period of time that was safe and comforting. It might even be a sweater like how I do. Separating ourselves from chaos does not mean ignoring life's demands. It is about reclaiming our energy so we can face the challenges from a place of strength and face the challenges from a place of safety and from a place that's nourishing. Now, I want to and move our focus to a researcher who has incredible work, and that is the work of Dr. Barbara Fredrickson. Dr. Fredrickson's research sheds a light on how comfort and positive emotions play a transformative role in healing from trauma. She has a theory, it's called the broaden and build theory, and it explains how positive emotions like gratitude, joy, and comfort help expand our perspective. They make it easier to see solutions, connect with others, and also build resilience. See, for trauma survivors, this means comfort isn't just a nice feeling. It's a key part of recovery. And I find that one of the most impactful things about Dr. Fredrickson's work is what she calls also the undoing effect. And why I find it so profound is it reminds me of Kurt Lewin with unlearn and relearn and freeze, unfreeze, and refreeze. That's Lewin. Now, Fredrickson, she has, again, the undoing effect. And what this means is when we experience positive emotions, even for a minute, even for a microsecond, these positive emotions, they help counteract the physical and emotional stress that is caused by trauma. These positive emotions help calm our nervous system, making it easier for our bodies to shift from survival mode into a state of safety, calm, and even growth. And Dr. Fredrickson also highlights micro moments of connection, which are brief and meaningful interactions that help us feel seen, valued, and safe, which is super cool because Dr. Fredrickson's work then ties right in to Dr. Amy Edmondson's work and Dr. David Jameson's work in psychological safety. I mean, how cool is that? So for a brief and meaningful interaction of feeling that we're seen and heard, that we're valued and we're safe, those micro moments of connection for someone healing from trauma, these moments can be life-changing. And they might include something like this: a smile from a stranger, a shared laugh with a friend. And it could even be kindness from somebody. It's a feeling of warmth. It's a feeling of warmth like how we feel the warmth of the sun on our face. We get a feeling, a sensation in our bodies when we have these micro moments of connections. See, healing doesn't have to come in big dramatic breakthroughs. It's often found in these small, everyday moments of comfort and connection. It's small breakthrough moments that can happen every day. Now, you might be wondering, well, what's the history of understanding comfort? And early research started way back in the 1950s with researchers and studies like Dr. Harry Harlow's work with infant monkeys showing about physical comfort. And this is where we started looking at early attachment theory. So, like touch and warmth is essential for emotional well-being. And we learned that information from Dr. Harry Harlow's work with, like I said, monkeys and physical comfort. Then it morphed into attachment theory in the 1960s with Dr. John Bowley, who introduced attachment theory, showing how secure relationships provide emotional safety and also resilience. And now moving forward to today, we have modern researchers, like I mentioned before, Dr. Fredrickson's research and their focus on how comfort and positive emotions go beyond survival and also extends to helping us thrive and heal from deep wounds. So comfort has evolved from being seen as a basic need to being understood as foundation and foundational for emotional growth, connection, and healing. All right, so now we've got awareness of what is discomfort, what is comfort and comforting, what's some research that can help us understand, deeper about comfort and healing, and then also what's the history. So how about if we try some stuff out? Right? Because all this knowledge and information, it's pretty cool to know. But boy, that's really when the magic happens is we actually do something with it. So now that we've explored, like I said, the science, let's talk about how to bring comfort into our lives in simple, practical ways. Because wouldn't that be a nice thing to do? All right, here's some ways we can do that. The first thing is name your discomfort. In a previous episode with Dr. Dan Siegel, he talks about name it to tame it. So name our discomfort. Take a moment and identify what's causing the stress or unease. Naming it is the first step toward releasing it. And remember, John Kabat-Zinn, what does Dr. John Kabat-Zinn say? Holding on is the opposite of letting go. So, name the discomfort. The second thing is we're going to practice Dr. Fredrickson. Embrace micro moments. Look for small moments of joy or connection. And you know what? It might seem insignificant at the time, but guess what? They always add up in big ways. It's the small things that add up to be a big, cool thing. And you know what? When you do have something and you notice the micro moment, hold on to that. Say to yourself, you know what? I'm going to ride this wave. Whatever your self-talk is, remember it, embrace it, because that's the thing that's going to help you the next time you find a discomforting moment. The third thing is create a comfort zone. There's so much chaos, so let's create some comfort zones. Design a space or a ritual that feels calming. And whether that's, a cozy corner, a favorite sweater, a cup of tea, or even a few minutes of mindful breathing. Make sure that we create a comfort zone. The fourth thing is move our body. Gentle movement like yoga, tai chi, or walking can help us release built-up tension and again, bring clarity as well as calmness. The fifth thing is connect with kindness. So reach out to someone who uplifts you or find ways to be kind to yourself. Both could foster a sense of comfort and safety. Number 6, create a comfort toolkit. Fill a box with items that bring you peace. Photos, a cozy blanket, a journal, or even a favorite snack. It could even be something like coloring. What is it that brings you comfort? And create a toolkit. Number 7, practice grounding techniques. Try the 5-4-3-2-1 method. Identify 5 things you see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. Number 8 is connect with someone. Reach out to a friend or a loved one for a quick chat. Small moments of connection can have a really big impact. Number 9, step outside. Spend even 5 minutes in nature. Go to a florist or even an area in your grocery store where you can smell flowers and you can see the beautiful colors of seasonal blooms. The fresh air, the change of scenery can help reset our mood. Number 10, breathe with intention. So try the 4-7-8 breathing. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 7, and then exhale for 8. This can calm our nervous system and bring our focus back to the present. Number 11, set a chaos-free time. Try dedicating 5 to 30 minutes a day to a calming activity like crocheting or knitting or pottery or sewing, tinkering in the garage, doing something with tools, woodworking, wood burning. There's many different things that we can do and protect this chaos-free time. It could even be reading or journaling or meditating. I'm sure you get the idea. There's several different examples. And lastly, number 12, develop a personalized playlist. Music has a unique ability to soothe our soul. Create a playlist of songs and sounds that bring you peace. Maybe it's an app that you want to connect with and listen to sounds of birds, listen to sounds of nature, or a waterfall, or rain. Develop a personalized playlist of sounds that soothe the soul. Discomfort is a part of life, and so is comfort. By recognizing what brings chaos, creating space for what brings peace, and embracing the science of positive emotions, we can begin to find calm even in the midst of chaos. So if you've enjoyed today's podcast episode, do me a favor, share it with somebody, because there's a hell of a lot of chaos going on right now. And maybe this podcast episode can help someone else too. And if you really liked it, do me another favor. Go give us a 5-star rating. That would be really helpful, because the more that people can find us, they do so because of those ratings. And even more so, remember to subscribe and like, because guess what? Whenever we do drop a podcast episode, you'll be the first to know. All right, you guys, you know what I'm going to say. I hope to goodness that someone says it with me. So say it with me. We're better together. We're stronger together. And take what resonates and go beyond.